I'm your host, Emily Springstrow, and we have a wonderful show lined up for today. Even though the weather is a little bit cold outside, that does not mean that Oshkosh is not hot with events and a lot of great things going on. So we're going to go ahead and dive into our first segment of the show. I have Lori Allman here, and she's from EAA, here to tell us all about a really cool event they have coming up over there. So Lori, welcome and thank you for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me. Glad to be here.
It's so great. I feel like we have EAA on so much during the year and the seasons and everything. You guys have a lot going on.
We
over
do.
there.
We do, and it starts full force the beginning of this year, and it really doesn't stop through AirVenture.
It really does. You have a lot going on. Most people know EAA for the annual fly-in, and that's, of course, your biggest event, but there are a lot of really cool things going on throughout the year.
Right.
What you're here to talk about is the Skiplane fly-in, which is kind of an interesting thing if you're not too familiar with aviation. Maybe first off, just tell us when the event will be happening and where it's going to be.
Sure. It's actually a great way to dive in. It is going to be Saturday, February 18th. It starts at 10 in the morning and goes till 1:30. It's a free event for the public, so anybody is welcome. It's actually kind of a really cool thing to see the ski planes fly in.
Yes, and I mean, you hear ski plane. What exactly is a ski plane compared to a regular?
It's exactly what you would think. They take the wheels off of the plane and they put skis on, and it's able to land on a runway in the snow, and preferably the snow. It won't work if we don't have it, but it looks like we probably will.
Looks like you might have a little bit of snow.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. So the ski plane fly-in event, obviously there's going to be a lot of planes there coming in. What can guests to this event expect? Like, what is it all involved if I'm coming to this event?
Anything that you want it to be. So it's a really great family-friendly event. You can come and go. It's more of an open house. Free to the public. You'll also get refreshments. We typically have soup and chili and some breadsticks and refreshments there for things to eat. We have coloring pages for kids. They can go and get close up to the planes, watch them fly in. It's just a really neat experience. When you're finished with that, you could even go up to the museum and check the museum out as well.
Very cool. And that's what's so great about a lot of these events. It's another opportunity to get a look at the museum, which in itself is an amazing, really cool thing. So it's really a cool thing. Let's see, how many planes are going to be attending?
They're very fickle, so it all depends on the weather. The flight pattern is, if it's very windy, they can't fly in, so it has to be sort of a perfect mix of everything. Last year, I think we had 27 planes fly in, so they're expecting between 27 and 30. We usually have about 50 planes that end up registering, but you can cut that in half with weather and things that come up during the time before they actually get in.
Yeah, that's really cool. And this event, I have to say, is really neat because when you think of the airport and, flying planes, usually when you think of snow, you think of cancellations.
Right. Right.
So it's kind of a time to celebrate, really.
Yes. So like you said, sometimes you shy away from snow when you have to fly, but it's really neat. It's in the Pioneer Airport right behind the Eagle hangar of the museum. And like I said, you can come anytime from 10 to 1:30. You can get there, you can see them land, you can see them take off. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times before they can take off. It's kind of an experience.
It must take a lot for them to get going. I mean, watching this video, it's just amazing. I just can't get over how different. So they're regular planes, but they have attachments on them.
Correct.
The skis.
They either have the skis on as well, or they just take the wheels right off and replace them with the skis.
Okay.
So,
do you have any regulars or anyone that come that come from certain areas or anything like that?
We have people come from all over and they really love the family feel of it because there's so much things to do, and even if there is no snow and the planes don't come in, we still have this go on. So there's lots of things that, like I said, the kids can do and just enjoy a day out with some hot chili.
Totally. So if there's a pilot or someone who's interested in flying their plane, what do they need to do? Obviously, there's a registration process for that.
There is, and I'm not very privy to what they have to do, so if they just call the contact or go to EAA.org, our website, to see what to do, but I know that they have to get debriefed and they have lots of rules to follow, so they follow their protocol.
So it's definitely a safe event. It's
Very.
not like there's random planes coming in.
No, it is scheduled to a T, but that's not my forte.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Leave that to the pilots.
Exactly.
And you said that it's also an opportunity to check out the museum. For those of us who aren't familiar with the EAA Museum, what are some of the things that we can see over there?
Well, right now we have the nose art exhibit, which is the World War II nose of the airplane art exhibit, and that's fantastic. So that's scattered through our Eagle hangar through the museum. If you have a family and you want to come and see the ski planes and it gets too cold, there's Kid Venture, all sorts of hands-on items, things to do up in the museum. So it runs the gamut.
Oh my gosh. And Kid Venture, I have to say, I've been in the museum a couple times, and that's one of my favorite areas for the hands-on reason. I mean, it's called Kid Venture, but I really enjoy going.
I know. Well, there's that hurricane simulator,
Yes.
which is really cool. So we have a flight simulator in the museum as well, and I think it's probably like a 3 or 4 minute ride, and you and someone else next to you are literally flying the plane, and I've seen people go upside down, and I hear screams, and so it's just, there's so much to do. Even if you go, if you are self-guided, you'll be able to see a little bit, but if you go and see one of our docents, they're so well-versed and they're so knowledgeable, you'll get so much out of it.
Yes, and the nose art exhibit is not going to be there forever, so you got to encourage people to get out there. It's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this really cool piece of history.
It is, and the stories behind all of them, they're just amazing. I think we're contracted through the beginning of next year, so it won't be around long, but it's amazing to see.
Yes, and really it's interesting too because there's stories along with each one, the background of where that artwork came from, which is very cool. So definitely encourage people to check out the museum if they're out there for the Skiplane. Anything else coming up pretty soon in the next few months here for EAA?
Yes, we have another exciting Hops and Props, which comes up Saturday, March 4th. So that's our beer sort of gala within the museum. I think we have over 80 different vendors this year, and craft beer. It's really cool.
It's
really
so
cool.
fun.
Oh yeah, and we have some new changes to the VIP dinner. So that's beforehand, but space is limited. We're already starting to have tickets go on sale, and
yes, we had one of your coworkers in on the last episode of Oshkosh
Probably
today, I believe. Kelly, yes, and so I had to get one more plug in there because those tickets do go fast.
They do,
so
especially the VIP tickets. But we can get about 1,100 or 1,200 general admission for just general Hops and Props.
Yes,
but it's such a fun night.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, one last time, if you'd like to just recap the date, time, and location for the Skiplane event.
It's Saturday, February 18th, and it goes from 10 to 1:30. It's a free event. Anybody can come, and depending on the weather, maybe you'll see 25 to 30 planes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, Lori, thank you so much for coming today.
Me.
It's great to hear about this, and we look forward to seeing at least a few Skiplanes.
Right. Me too. Thanks.
Oshkosh Today was supported in part by the Friends of OCM. And Aurora Healthcare, 855 Northwest Haven Drive. Set design provided by House of Flowers, 1920 Algoma Boulevard. Oshkosh Today.